Greetings, college writing students. I was doing this a lot in the spring, and I'm really happy that most days I get to talk to you face to face. But since I'm not here today, I thought I would record a small presentation. This hopefully is related to the memoir that you're working on, that you have a little less than a week now to finish. One of the challenges of that memoir is that I've asked you to digress. I've asked you to not only tell a story, but to take some side paths, to enlarge on some topics that are related to the story, but not part of the story. And the challenge is how to do that without getting off track. You want your digressions to deepen the memoir, not to derail it. In other words, you want coherence. Coherence, it's the quality of connectedness. It is things holding together in your writing, the flow of the writing. If your writing has coherence, then readers know what point B has to do with point A. You want that in this piece of writing and in all of your writing. So how do you get there? First of all, you need to have focus. You need to know where you're going in the end. What is your main point? Because as long as things are connected somehow to that main point, as long as you have a way that it all ties together, you're more likely to be coherent. If you are going somewhere, right? If you're trying to say something. So, a focus. And you should state it somewhere. Even in a more personal essay like this memoir, you probably need to come out and make some kind of a statement of a main idea. I'm not saying it has to be at the end of the first paragraph, like in a 5-paragraph essay, but somewhere in here, you're going to say what you're trying to say. Have focus. Second point is to follow a pattern where you tend to go from familiar to new. Every sentence, pretty much, ideally, does this. It begins referring to something that we already know about, bringing up something that we have already discussed, and then it moves from that to new material, familiar to new. So you are writing about a time that you almost drowned, and how important it was then to be able to swim. And then you decide to go into a section of the essay where you're talking about the development of skills. It's not always as obvious to us that we need to swim as it is when we are drowning. That's what I was just talking about. That's the familiar. But we need to think about the future importance, imperative importance maybe, of skills to motivate us when we're learning those skills. Now I'm talking about skill development in general. I've gone from the familiar, drowning, to new, development of skills. That's a pattern that you want to have in your writing. As a rule, you're wanting to go from something familiar to something new. This constant chain of connection. While you're doing that, remember at least sometimes to remind us of your focus. As you get to a new section of an essay, sort of bringing back in the main theme or the main idea, the main point. Keeping that focus not too far to the edge is a good way to have coherence in your writing. There are some more. Key words can be good. I know that we learn as writers to use a variety of words and not to repeat words too much, but sometimes it's useful to repeat a word. Sometimes it's useful to have a keyword or two or three that keep popping back up. Those serve as signposts, and they give coherence to our writing. So don't be afraid to have some keywords and to repeat those words. The next one is one that we're going to spend some more time on later, because it's a grammatical kind of point. But I need to bring it up in the context of coherence. We should take care with pronouns. It's really easy for readers to get lost when we're using words such as that, or this, or which. The problem is that often we use those words, those pronouns, to refer to maybe a whole paragraph worth of stuff. And it becomes not immediately clear what specifically the pronoun is referring to. So we lose the connection. What you want to try to achieve, and again, we'll come back to this in more detail later, is sentences where the pronoun refers to one word, or it has one word after it that clarifies what it is referring to. And what it is referring to is not too far back in the writing. So be careful with pronouns. And finally, just ending with what is maybe the most basic way to achieve coherence, and that is to use transitional kinds of words and phrases. Use words like again, furthermore, on the other hand, beyond that, for example, in other words, whatever kinds of phrases you want to use, but things that show the connection, that clarify the connection between one sentence and another. Use those. So you have this whole repertoire of ways to do it. But the key here, and what you're about to practice in an exercise, is to craft writing in which things hold together. You can do this. You're already doing it. We're just going to work on getting better. Have a good day.